Yes. How did we first
How
meet?
did we meet? So we actually met in 2018 in Miami. I was down there on a guy's trip. She was down there on a girl's trip.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine was actually close friends with one of the young ladies at her group,
Mm-hmm.
and we met up with them down on Oceans Drive at a restaurant. He had told me he wanted to catch up with his homegirl. She was down there with some of her friends, and so we was like, all right, we'll go down there with you. And we walked in, and there they were, and introductions were made. So
Yep. It's always like such a funny story because we met in Miami, had no prior existence of each other, like no knowledge, like I never knew he existed, never knew, had like none of this was planned. Even with us being down there, when my girlfriend was like, oh, hey, one of my guy friends is here. I didn't know who they were, right? And so, yeah, when he walked in, and of all places in Miami that we met on Ocean Drive at TGI Fridays. Like, who goes to Miami to go to TGI Fridays? Like, that's insane. But that was the only place that was open where we can go and sit at the bar and eat. And anyways, it was about him, and it was four of y'all, right? It was four of y'all. They come walking in. He was the last one to walk in. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at this tall, light-skinned man with these muscles and these tattoos walking up in here. I was like, yes, that's it. He sat next to me at the bar, and we got the rapping, and that's how it happened. That's the story from there.
So what did you think when you saw her?
when I first saw her, she was sitting at a bar, and we'll keep it clean for the camera. But now I was like, man, she nice, real nice, and so of course I go into attack mode. I go right to the bar, start the combo, offer a drink, and we just kind of go from there, just chit chatting. But it was natural. It was just a natural flow of moving forward when I saw something that I liked. So it was, everything. It felt like we knew each other. We just got the bar chit chatting, joking, just having a good time. And like I said, it just felt right.
Yeah, I agree. It felt completely natural. I felt completely like comfortable with you right away. And we just started a conversation, and we just realized that we had so many similar interests, and it just like the conversation just kind of kept going. And we met that day, and like we ended up spending like the entire like next 4 days together. Not like spending the night, like nothing like that, but like just like hanging out, like my group and his group, just hanging out with each other for like the next 4 days of the trip. And that was my first day there. He had been there like what, a day or two before? Yeah, so he had already been, hitting the streets and having a good time. And it was my first day there. And literally I had only been in Miami like 3 hours before I had met him. And yeah, I was like immediately obsessed. And we hung out, we kicked it, and we all had a great time. But yeah, it felt comfortable, and it felt right.
Oh yeah, it'll be.
I think it was like my birthday, which was a couple months after we met. So we met in March, and actually my birthday was in June. And he, obviously like a week or so ahead of time, and was like, what day's your birthday? It's this day, correct? And I was like, yeah, okay. And then like a couple days later, I got a text from him. I'll pick you up at 7 p.m., wear a nice dress, and something else you said, I can't remember. But anyways, like I'll pick you up at 7 p.m., like, wear a nice dress. And I had no idea where we were going, what we were doing. And that was it. So maybe that was like an official kind of first date type of vibe. That day was special. So I'm really big on birthdays. If you know me, like I'm all about birthdays. Do not miss my birthday. Always tell me happy birthday. And so, I don't know if that was ever just probably came up in conversation. I'm not sure, but he made sure to plan something for my birthday. And one thing about me is that I've always spent my birthday with like loved ones. So I'll spend it like with my family, close friends. It's always like a group thing. And this actual birthday, I spent alone with him, which was the first time I've ever done that. And I was like, oh, this guy I like, he wants to take me out for my birthday. Obviously, I'm telling the girls, like, the guy from Miami, da, da, da. But yeah, so I told my family, and they were kind of taken aback, like, wait a minute, we're not spending your birthday with you? And I was like, no, I'm spending my birthday with this guy. And that was a good night. He came and picked me up, and I had on my cute little dress and my red bottoms, and because that was like, I think our first official like getting dressed up.
Yeah.
And so I put on my cute little dress, had my red bottoms on, and he came and picked me up, and we went and had dinner at, where did we go?
We went to.
Did we go to Nick and Sam's?
Nah, it wasn't Nick. It was Perry's.
We went to Perry's. That's right. Yeah, we went to Perry's. Started off there, had a nice, steak dinner. And then the night, kind of like how we always do, we left there and just started going to multiple different like little bars. We went to Bourbon and Banter that night and the Statler. This is like when it was like, had kind of first hit the scene. So it was like a hot spot. We had went to, what is that bar in Parliament? We went to Parliament, had drinks. So it ended up being just like a long night of like just each other's company, drinking, kind of like what we always do. And it was special. That day was special. So I'm really big on birthdays. If you know me, like I'm all about birthdays. Do not miss my birthday. Always tell me happy birthday. And so, I don't know if that was ever just probably came up in conversation. I'm not sure, but he made sure to plan something for my birthday. And one thing about me is that I've always spent my birthday with like loved ones. So I'll spend it like with my family, close friends. It's always like a group thing. And this actual birthday, I spent alone with him, which was the first time I've ever done that. And I was like, oh, this guy I like, he wants to take me out for my birthday. Obviously, I'm telling the girls, like, the guy from Miami, da, da, da. But yeah, so I told my family, and they were kind of taken aback, like, wait a minute, we're not spending your birthday with you? And I was like, no, I'm spending my birthday with this guy. And that was a good night. He came and picked me up, and I had on my cute little dress and my red bottoms, and because that was like, I think our first official like getting dressed up.
Yeah.
And so I put on my cute little dress, had my red bottoms on, and he came and picked me up, and we went and had dinner at, where did we go?
We went to.
Did we go to Nick and Sam's?
Nah, it wasn't Nick. It was Perry's.
We went to Perry's. That's right. Yeah, we went to Perry's. Started off there, had a nice, steak dinner. And then the night, kind of like how we always do, we left there and just started going to multiple different like little bars. We went to Bourbon and Banter that night and the Statler. This is like when it was like, had kind of first hit the scene. So it was like a hot spot. We had went to, what is that bar in Parliament? We went to Parliament, had drinks. So it ended up being just like a long night of like just each other's company, drinking, kind of like what we always do. And it was special. Oh my gosh. I think when we first met each other's families, actually, so a little background story. He is a former owner. How do you want me to say it? Like owner, operator.
So once upon a time.
Yeah.
In this magical place called the West End of downtown Dallas.
Yeah.
I used to be a restaurant bar owner of a location called Burger and West End. And it was right there in the West End area, on Market Street, Market and Corbin.
Yeah.
And so her family, so like her brothers, at one point I indirectly met them. One time just kind of just stopping by her apartment, and they were there and they were leaving, and I was walking in. And I'm pretty sure they was looking like, who's this dude? Walking in, what I'm saying? But, once I got things rocking and rolling with the restaurant, naturally, once your family keep hearing somebody's name, they kind of want to know, all right, who's this person? And so she let them know that I had a restaurant, had a location downtown. And, they stopped by the restaurant just to kind of, see what, what I was about as far as my business, and just kind of get a feel for me. And, for me, for them to come and just off the dump, just support like that meant a lot to me. And then, like I said, having older brothers, of course, they want to study and really get a feel for who's this dude that's courting their sister.
Yeah.
And but no, we essentially we hit it off. Really, like I said, they kind of sensed the vibe that I really wasn't trying to play no games, or I didn't have any ill will or anything, in my energy and my spirit. And no, they took a liking to me, and vice versa,
Yeah.
So,
And I first met your family when you were throwing one of your, what was it, like anniversary parties at the restaurant.
yeah.
And was it the 1 year anniversary, I think, at the restaurant? And so his family, he's originally from Detroit. And so his family was, they came to Dallas to celebrate that 1 year anniversary of his restaurant being open. And obviously I had invited my family because it's a big celebration, right? The whole city came out for this. But so my family was there. And that was my first time actually meeting his family. So his mom, dad, sister, little niece at the time, and cousins, everybody, like his whole entire family was in town. And so that actually ended up being a really nice way to meet. I'm meeting them at his restaurant, and they're able to kind of like see him in his element, but also see me there because I'm comfortable now. Like I'm almost like the first lady of the restaurant in a way, like this is my restaurant too. But yeah, so I'm in his element in a way, and was able to meet his entire family, and then they also met my family that same weekend, and everybody just got along perfectly. It was like a magnet. We didn't have any issues anywhere, like no weird energy or anything like that. Everyone just got along. So that was a first meeting for all of us. Yay! That's a special day.
So the proposal.
That's a special day.
So I wanted it to, be, of course, like most guys, you want it to be special. Wanted it to be unique, catch you off guard, all those elements. So the idea that I came up with was to essentially have this T-shirt made with a bunch of pictures of her on it, and then in the middle of the shirt was the actual ring that I was gonna propose with. And so we had the baby shower for Deuce.
So I was pregnant at the time.
Right.
I was pregnant at the time. So where he proposed ended up being our Dallas baby shower on 11/11.
Right. So we had one in Detroit, then we came back here, and then we had a shower here. And so the idea was I had her cousin say that she wanted to make a special presentation to the couple to congratulate us and so forth, but we had to wear a blindfold and close our eyes because it was a surprise. Okay. So we went ahead, put the blindfolds on, and she had us turn around and face the wall and had us hold hands. And so once the blindfold was on, I told her to tap me to let me know that she can't see. So I took my blindfold off and I told the crowd,
Mind you, we're in a room full of, it's a baby shower.
Yeah.
I'm like 7, 8 months pregnant. I had been standing here for a while, like about a good 10 minutes while they're like trying to figure out what's going on in 5-inch heels.
Right.
And I'm
so
like,
she's standing.
What is
At this
happening?
point, I kind of slide away. I go in the back. The shirt that I wore to the shower, I take off, and then I put on a T-shirt with all her photos on it, and then it's the ring in the middle, and it says, say yes at the top. And so I come back, and then from there, like I said, I get back in position, and I'll go ahead and take a knee. And so then from there, they tell her, okay, y'all both can turn around. Of course, I'm already on my knee. So she turns around and they say, take off the blindfold. And so she's standing looking forward, and everyone's just staring at her. And then she turns to the left, and there I am down there on the knee. And then I pull out the ring, ask her. Of course, she says yes. I stand up.
I'm like crying.
And I flash I got the shirt on and say,
yeah.
will you marry me? And so
and it was so nice and so thoughtful. And I remember like when I opened up my eyes and I saw him on his knees, the first thing that I saw was actually like the shirt. Like I saw the shirt and then he had the ring and I'm like completely frozen and typical girl. So I'm like crying like, oh my gosh, it's happening. And yeah, then I was like stuck, couldn't say anything. He's like, read the shirt, read the shirt, read the shirt. And so I read the shirt out loud and I'm like, okay. And he's like, say it out loud. And I'm like, yes. And we hug and we kiss. And then that was a whole moment. But yeah, it was November 11th, 2023. So it was 11/11, which is a special, special numbers, 11/11. So that was a special day.